We are late, and since I have 6 members here, we're going to start. I've got a quorum. So, let's see if we have got several resolutions here. I think we'll be able to do a number on consent. Actually, since we haven't done it in a while, Courtney, I don't know if you're
I just have one thing to talk about this time, which is traffic calming. So as you know, the open application period closed on January 22nd for our traffic calming program. And just as an update on that, we had 40 new applicants. So that's representative of neighborhoods for the most part. We had 28 neighborhoods that were already on the list, so they were kind of grandfathered into that program. And we have a new engineer working for Jeff. His name is Derek Haggerty, and he is going to be overseeing our traffic calming program. So he's going through those right now and reviewing all of the applications. And then he is going to notify the neighborhoods in mid-March about whether they are going to get accepted into the program for this 6-month period.
So is that person a Metro employee?
Yeah, he's one of Jeff's engineers.
Excellent. Long time overdue. Glad to hear it. So will that gentleman then be administering that program, or as far as the work that gets done, are we still doing that with contractors? How are we going to approach that?
Some will have to still be done by contractors. They're out working now, collecting data in neighborhoods.
So does it just vary on the scale? Because sometimes a neighborhood is just like this one street, so that's sort of simple. We'll do that in-house.
And I want to get him trained, working with them to develop plans himself, but he won't be able to do all of them, but certainly any dent we can knock in, that's what we're looking to do.
And that gentleman's name's what again?
His name is Derek Haggerty.
You said decisions by mid-March?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's looking at mid-March, I think was the last update. Is that right? You know it, Jeff?
And Courtney, did you want us still, to that point, I think probably both council members and the general public would benefit from this. Should we still work on scheduling a bigger?
Yes, absolutely. We definitely still want to do that.
All right, great. All right, water, did we have anything, Jim? Did you all want to say anything? I know we've got rain coming.
Yeah. Don't drive through.
Turn around, don't.
We appreciate the tolerance of the citizens of this county and then the council, of course. I mean, the whole county is will get hit by rain, and so as strange as it sounds, the way that the rain is going to be dispersed, we know through our flood warning system that if you get 2 inches of rain over a 24-hour period of time, and it comes that way, even if the ground is saturated, it doesn't really create, large flooding situations, but you just never know how that rain's going to come. So if it comes 3 inches in 6 hours, that creates problems. So
Right.
Our hope is that it won't be
Evenly distributed.
evenly distributed. So,
Well, I know your colleague, Mr. Honeysucker, advised folks to call the emergency dispatch number. So for anybody who's watching at home, and this will be applicable through this weekend, it sounds like 615-862-4600 for any water, stormwater, or flooding matters. So,
thank you.
I'm sure you all will get some calls this week.
Right, and we have all hands on deck.
And I know OEM has also issued some advisories, so just stay tuned. And to Jim's point, don't drive through any high water. All right, well then we can jump right into the agenda. We'll go through resolutions first. If any of these need to be taken off of consent for reasons they wouldn't otherwise be, please let me know as we go through these. RS 2019-1613 accepts a community tree planting grant from Keep America Beautiful and the United Parcel Service Foundation and Metro Public Works to provide funding for 50 trees to be planted in the Mill Creek watershed and the Antioch community to help with air and noise pollution. Actually, I guess that's it. Let's just do that one resolution and we can go to bills on second reading. Got a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Now we'll go to bills on second reading. And Bill 2019-1488, I know we've got a letter withdraw. I might come back to Councilmember Weiner. And then, let's see, we'll skip over 1489 as well. 1491, we will not do. We've got a substitute in 1492. Let's go to BL 2019-1494, approves and authorizes the Director of Public Property Administration or his designee to accept a donation of real property located at the intersection of Edmondson Pike and Cloverland Drive for use as part of the park system. BL 2019-1495 abandons existing sanitary sewer main, a sanitary sewer manhole and easements, and to accept new sanitary sewer and water mains, sanitary sewer manholes, a fire hydrant assembly and easements for 5 properties located on 6th Avenue North. BL 2019-1496 authorizes the Metro government to accept new water mains, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements for 11 properties located along Cane Ridge Road and Preston Road. BL 2019-1497 authorizes the Metro government to negotiate and accept permanent and temporary easements for the Nashville Lane Drainage Stormwater Improvement Project for 3 properties located at 665, 671, and 677 Vernon Avenue. BL 2019-1498 abandons existing water main and to accept new water main and a fire hydrant assembly for properties located at 905 and 907 54th Avenue North. BL 2019-1499 abandons existing water main and easements and to accept new water main and a fire hydrant assembly and easements for property located at 908 Division Street. BL 2019-1500 abandons existing water main and easements and to accept new water main, fire hydrant assemblies and easements for property located at 1 Terminal Drive. BL 2019-1501 authorizes Charlotte Avenue Lodging, LLC to install, construct, and maintain aerial and underground encroachments on the right-of-way located at 1414 to 1508 Charlotte Avenue. BL 2019-1502 abandons existing easements rights located between 11th Avenue South and 12th Avenue South, formerly known as alley number 233, and abandons existing easement rights located along 11th Avenue South between former alley number 233 and Pine Street. And then BL 2019-1503 abandons portions of Fog Street, alley number 140, and alley number 159 right-of-way. Any need to take any of those off of consent? All right, hearing none, I would accept the motion to approve that package on consent. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, now we'll go back to the ones that we might need to discuss. Councilmember Weiner, I will give you the floor if you'd like to say anything about BL 2019-1488.
Thank you. I would just make a brief couple of comments, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The reason that I initially brought this is that I have constituents in Bellevue who work downtown. In fact, one who is wheelchair-bound. And they had called and actually bumped into me in the grocery and said that they were quite concerned because people are riding the scooters with disregard to pedestrians. We have scooters that are being left hither and yon, and our wheelchair-bound friends are not able to move around them freely. And they were asking for a sense of order to be placed on these. I've ridden a scooter. I think it's a great technology, but I think we need to bring some order to it. And as such, that's the reason that I initially brought the legislation. Having had the opportunity to speak at length with the different representatives from several of the companies, there's technology within some of, not all yet, but in some of their apps that would help us to facilitate corralling them. And we had agreed that we would put together a stakeholder group of Walk Bike Nashville, the different downtown folks, the Downtown Partnership, to bring together to the table the representatives from the different companies so we could work out the legal, logistical issues that are surrounding these and make this pilot project something that we can really move forward from in a year. So my intent is not to derail the industry. My intent was to move forward with something that would be appropriately mindful and respectful to everybody in the community. Tourists, residents, users of the scooters, and folks that are trying to get around them. And so because we have the agreement to go ahead and move forward with the stakeholder group, and because there are things that we need to do to really address this comprehensively and within the scope of what their apps will allow, I was more than willing to withdraw it so that we could move forward with Councilman Elrod's bill that's going to come back, that's on second, that is going to be deferred and come back. So with that said, I would appreciate withdrawing.
Okay. I believe you can just withdraw on the floor, I think.
will.
And so I don't think the committee, in which case, since we've got your letter, I don't even think we need to take action, right? Because we don't need a committee recommendation if you're going to withdraw. All right, perfect. And let me just speak to this as well. I appreciate Councilmember Wiener's willingness to collaborate here. I've spoken at length with Mr. Fields, with planning. I know we've got some corrals coming that should match the technology, and I think we've actually got some alternative approaches that are coming that kind of, I hope, will supplement some of the work Councilmember Elrod has done on this kind of first pass at technical corrections to the original SUMD policy framework. So thank you, Councilmember Wiener, for doing that. I don't know that we need discussion on this since the intent is to withdraw, but if there is any, I'd be happy to entertain some.
Chair,
Yes.
in the context of that stakeholder group, and as you all kind of engage with the corralling conversation, we've mentioned here a couple times, Mr. Fields, the need perhaps to partner with the companies and downtown precinct around some kind of an awareness effort to say, hey, this week, no riding on sidewalks. And so, MNPD, somebody, is engaging folks and saying, hey, this is your warning. There has to be some sort of intensive effort, whether through public, awareness or something. But it's just, our inboxes are full all the time of people riding on sidewalks and these things just being akimbo all over the place. And so, you have a council that is mindful of the importance of, micro-mobility and multimodal and wants to be supportive, but I just do not see, personally, and that may just be my perspective, a ample amount of education and awareness, and I don't know, perhaps whatever's happening on the app, but just the general perception out in the community, people are riding on sidewalks with impunity. It's the same thing we struggle with on, people are speeding with impunity, all these things. But because you have a provider, these multiple companies, I think we can message it positively, and it's a win for you all and for the city. So I guess I would just say,
Well,
in that stakeholder group, I would like to, in some way, try to elevate that kind of awareness and initiative, some sort of kind of.
So I think that's true, but I think also two quick thoughts. One, I know the principal element that Councilmember Wiener was looking at here is the parking issue, and I almost see the parking and the riding as two different but related
Right.
issues. I think we could honestly send a letter from this committee to Central Precinct Mayor's office, basically looking for an aligned action piece that maybe TLC could participate in. But I generally support that as well.
Okay, I
Sure.
appreciate that.
And I would,
Sure.
to your point about the sidewalks and education and notification, it's my understanding from speaking with several of the representatives that they'll be able to communicate directly with their users and be able to educate them on the front end.
Yep.
And I know that is also developing in some of the other apps as well,
Yep.
which will be to our benefit.
I agree.
And then as a
Councilmember Allen.
corollary to that, I continue to stress the importance of, as best we can, documenting compliance/violations, just with
Right.
regard to allowing the expansion of the new companies, because if we just continue to have more and more come without having the companies have skin in the game, then it matters to them how their riders are behaving.
Councilor Allen, what I would say, this is the same thing that we struggle with. MNPD does not have a particular data point for near misses on bikes or scooters or anything, or I see somebody on the sidewalk. There's no effective way to document that. So without that data,
I would say there are probably enough parking violations to keep them from being able to expand if we just casually take pictures and throw them into the hub.
but this is the same thing you said to Mr. Fields, is like you're setting these thresholds for this many, violations, but are we really in earnest trying to enforce?
Well, to answer the question, in most cases, what we're doing right now, we're taking all the hub calls. When those that come through the hub, what we're doing is every day as we identify the scooters are going out to the companies. I don't know for majority, but a great many of the pictures that we're seeing, they are on sidewalks, but they're not actual violations. The ones that are violations, the companies are responding within 2 hours and removing them. once we're notified of it. But
And you're keeping track of those as well?
Oh, yes, ma'am. They're being logged through the system, and what we've also done, we've added an extra step in the office. We're pulling those pictures out that are a violation. We say, here are the 5 or 6, and again, we're not getting tons of them, but we're getting, everything we're dealing with all of them as they come in. And and the companies are aware of, I don't want to call them an ambassador program, but that's kind of what we're talking about, is going on the streets and be identifiable as one of the companies with the shirts and so forth, working the sidewalks in particular to work with riders to help them understand they can't be on the sidewalk in the downtown area and where to park and so forth. So we're going to continue to engage as best we can, and certainly we'll work with the stakeholders meeting with Ms. Wing.
All right, well, we've got a letter and a commitment from Councilmember Weiner to withdraw this, so anything else, I'll go ahead and move on.
Can I just one thing? Councilmember Weiner, just because we've had several conversations about this, State Representative Darren Jernigan has brought this up to me on several occasions, and he's really concerned about this issue, and he would like for someone to contact him, which I've already let folks know. But if you're going to have a stakeholder group, I think he might be a good person to have involved.
That's a great thought.
Absolutely, we'll make sure that Mike knows that.
Great, thank you.
That's great.
All right, we will move on to BL 2019-1489. Councilmember Elrod, I think we've got a letter from you to defer indefinitely. Do you care to make such a motion?
I move to defer indefinitely.
All right, we've got a motion to defer
For the sake of time,
indefinitely.
I'll save comments.
All right. We've got a motion on the floor to defer BL 2019-1489 indefinitely. Anybody willing to second that?
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second, Councilman Elrod. Did you say you don't have any comments here?
I've got a ordinance on third reading I'd like to move tonight. Worked with many of the stakeholders, not all the stakeholders like everything that's in it, and that's okay. But I think they're willing to work with it, and I think we have all the legal issues addressed that were raised at the beginning when we first filed it. And I think it's a good first stab at. We had passed something in August or September, and hopefully we pass what we have on third reading tonight is a good first step to making some changes in it to better the pilot program, and then Councilman or Chairman O'Connell hopefully will convene the stakeholders group and absolutely want to be a part of that. And I think this is one of those things we have to take things as they come because it's such a new technology. We don't yet know how to make it perfect because I don't know that any city's had a perfect way of approaching these. And because the technology and the way it's being used are changing all the time, we need to continually potentially be making changes or tweaks, but in the vein of trying to make it work and trying to listen to community concerns. So I'll renew my motion.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to defer indefinitely. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you, Councilmember Elrod. Next up is BL 2019-1491. We've got, this directs the Metro Planning Department, the Department of Public Works, the Department of Codes and Building Safety, Metro Water Services, and the Nashville Fire Department to develop and implement within 6 months hereof a prioritization process for the departmental review of permit applications and related reviews for certain affordable housing projects. Councilmember Sled, I will give you the floor.
Thanks, Chair. So as I've stated in some other committees, this came as a result of a conversation we had in Affordable Housing Ad Hoc Committee several months ago with some of the nonprofit affordable housing developers in town to talk about some of the challenges and possible solutions they faced when it came to developing more and more expedient affordable housing. So this is one of the initiatives that came out of that was essentially if they were to meet thresholds that we have already determined as a body are sufficient for affordable housing or are to receive Barnes funding, that they would be able to have their plans reviewed kind of at the front of the line, like they would be able to line jump. This does not mean that if they didn't have their plans in order that they would be able to continue to line jump. They kind of get the first crack at it. So Attorney Jameson helped me set up a meeting with all the department heads and reps. They said, the departments you see in there said, yes, we think we'd be able to do this. And the Codes Department asked if there's an amendment on this bill, if the Mayor's Office of Housing could be the one to sort of use the discernment to say, yes, this does qualify, it does have Barnes funding or meets that threshold, and that way it can be flagged in the system and the separate departments are having to figure out on their own time and dime what would qualify, what wouldn't. So I'd ask that y'all move the amendment, and I'm happy to take questions.
All right, I would accept a motion on the amendment.
So moved.
All right, got a motion and a second on the amendment. Now, let's do that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we've got a bill as amended. I'd accept a motion on the bill as amended.
So moved.
All right, got a motion and a second on the bill as amended. Any discussion? All right, hearing.
So, Councilman Sledge, I just had a quick question. So Affordable Housing Advocates had reached out to me last year as it related to sidewalk requirements for affordable housing, trying to assert that that was kind of affecting affordability, and then I was kind of trying to argue, well, it's very important to be able to walk to transit for affordable living, and kind of having that back and forth and figuring things out a little bit. I know at the time, Bob Lehman in planning was kind of worried about, if there were to be some sort of accommodation or something, so can you speak more particularly to the documentation? So I think we had sort of settled on, it's Barnes funded. But, when you're saying they're flagging it, is that the new person that Mayor Berry is what are going to be, will there be very precise kind of metrics as to what qualifies you and kind of what are the...
Yes, so written into the language is the table actually that we use back from our inclusionary housing days. And so it's something where it has been vetted by stakeholders, both non and for-profit developers. So we felt like that metric made sense to use. And then obviously Barnes Fund has metrics well beyond that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Thank you, Councilmember Sledge. Then next up is BL 2019-1492. Directs Metro Public Works to complete their analysis for the reduction of vehicular speed limits on neighborhood classified streets per the Major and Collector Speed Plan of Nashville and Davidson County, recommended in the 2016 Walk and Bike Strategic Plan, and to submit a written feasibility report with implementation recommendations to the Metro Council within 90 days hereof. Councilmember Allen, I see there is a proposed substitute.
Proposed substitute, Councilmember Henderson and I would like to shorten that time to 30 days. I've checked with Public Works, and they've said they've been working on this already, and they felt comfortable with that timeline. A lot of the research, as people know, has been done in kind of the 3 walking district groups, and Councilmember Hagar through Traffic and Parking Commission has also been working on it, so they feel like they can meet that timeline.
Okay.
So we'll move that substitute.
All right, we've got a motion on the bill as on a substitute version of the bill.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
The bill as substitute.
All right, we've got a motion on the bill as substituted and a second. Discussion on this. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that, I believe, completes our bill. Thank you, everyone.
What's next?